Hi friends! Shall we take another fun trip through Korean history? Today, in the fourth episode of Infinite Korean History, we'll learn about the first shining star of the Korean peninsula, King Geunchogo of Baekje. King Geunchogo is famous for leading Baekje into its golden age. How was that possible? Let's find out. If you were to establish a nation on a new land, where would be the best place? First, you would need water to drink. You also need water to raise livestock and to farm. That's why people in ancient times settled in places with abundant water, right next to clean, flowing rivers.
The land around rivers is rich in nutrients, so crops grow well.
We can use boats to travel long distances.
The great civilizations of humanity always flourished where rivers flowed. The Nile for the Egyptian civilization, the Tigris and Euphrates for Mesopotamia, the Indus for the Indian civilization, and the Yellow River for the Chinese civilization. Rivers were the lifeblood that nurtured humanity. What about the Korean peninsula? There are many rivers here. The most special one is the Han River, which flows through present-day Seoul. The Bukhan River and the Naman River meet to become the Han River. Since ancient times, this area had abundant water and flat land, making it perfect for farming. Located in the center of the peninsula, it also offered convenient transportation. Specifically, people could easily reach China via the West Sea. So, which nation was the first to occupy the Han River, the best spot on the peninsula? It was Baekje.
Our founder, King Geunchogo, established our nation right here.
Now, let's begin the story of Baekje's growth, which started from an exceptional location. The first story of King Geunchogo. Four commanderies of Han. In 108 BCE, Gojoseon was destroyed by the Han dynasty of China. The Han dynasty divided the former territory of Gojoseon into 4 districts and ruled them. These are called the 4 commanderies of Han. Although these commanderies were located on the Korean peninsula, they were ruled by the Han dynasty, so they possessed advanced Chinese culture and technology. Over time, changes occurred within these commanderies. Eventually, only 2 remained: the Lilang Commandery and the Daifang Commandery. They were still the envy of people on the peninsula because they possessed the latest technologies from mainland China, which is technologies essential for the developing nations of the peninsula.
If you want the advanced artifacts, get in line.
If we had those technologies, we could develop too, right?
Let's learn a bit more about the Han Dynasty. It was a massive empire that stretched all the way to Central Asia and even traded with the Roman Empire. Trade refers to nations exchanging or buying necessary goods. This trade happened along the Silk Road. Why was it called that? Silk was the representative product of the Han Dynasty. Because it was spread along this path, it got its name. Silk is a fabric woven from threads taken from silkworm cocoons. It was very light and soft.
Silk is very popular here. Please send us more.
At this time, glass artworks and exotic animals from the West entered the East.
This glass-making technology is quite useful.
In this way, the Han Dynasty learned new technologies and developed its culture by trading various goods worldwide.
With civilization coming and going like this, technology is developing.
These advanced technologies and cultures were passed on to the Lilang and Daifang commanderies as well. Among the Han Dynasty's culture and technology, the one the nations of the peninsula wanted most was the technology for making hard iron. Originally, they used a method of pouring molten iron into a mold and letting it harden, but the iron often broke easily.
Now, swords won't break during battle.
Let's take a quick look at how hard iron is made. First, iron ore is melted to create pure molten iron. Then, the molten iron is hardened into blocks and heated again in a hot fire. Finally, the heated iron block is continuously hammered into shape. Hard iron could only be made using this Han technique of repeatedly heating and hammering the metal. This hard iron was a shortcut to building a wealthy and strong nation because it allowed for the creation of sturdy weapons and farming tools. Sturdy weapons meant a strong army.
With these great weapons, enemies don't dare to invade easily.
And sturdy farming tools allowed for the production of more food.
Farming has become so much more convenient, and our harvest has increased.
That's why everyone tried their best to stay on good terms with the Lelang and Daifang commanderies. Knowing this, the Lelang and Daifang commanderies tried to use their advanced technology to control the surrounding nations. One nation was very unhappy with this: the state of Baekje. Baekje was a nation that many other nations in the southern peninsula, including Baekje, looked up to as a big brother. Finally, Baekje got angry and joined forces with other nations to attack the Daifang commandery.
We'll teach you a lesson so you can't interfere anymore!
However, Daifang joined forces with Lelang to fight back, and in the end, Baekje was heavily defeated. Baekje, which had been steadily building its strength in the Han River region, did not miss this opportunity. It attacked the weak Baekje and won.
Turning a crisis into an opportunity, that's true skill.
I can't believe we lost our position as the leader.
Now, Baekje began to emerge as the new leader of the southern peninsula. It was the first step toward Baekje's golden age. King Geunchogo, the second story of King Goi. When building a house, the foundation must be strong to build high. The same goes for a nation. A nation needs a solid foundation to reach its golden age. King Goi, who was the king of Baekje in the 3rd century, took on that role. What exactly did he do?
To become a powerful nation, we must build a solid foundation.
Territory of Baekje was growing. It was no longer just a small country by the Han River. But King Goi wasn't satisfied with this. He wanted to make Baekje the strongest nation.
If you underestimate Baekje, you'll be in big trouble.
So King Goi reorganized the nation. First, he clarified the hierarchy of his officials. He divided government ranks into 16 levels and assigned specific colors to their robes, such as purple, crimson, and blue. Now, no official could just dress flashy and show off as they pleased. He also proclaimed the Yulleong. Yulleong refers to the legal codes that all citizens must follow. It set rules for punishments for theft and how to pay taxes. Before this, there were many inconveniences because officials handled matters as they saw fit.
Yo refers to statutes, the laws that define punishments.
Leung refers to ordinances, the administrative regulations.
As the nation's laws became clear, the country gradually became stable. King Goi did even more. Have you heard of Pungnaptosong on the south side of the Han River in Seoul? It is the site of a Baekje royal palace and earthen fortress. It is said that hundreds of thousands of people were needed to build this wall. To carry out such a massive project, a king needs strong power. It was King Goi who started building this. But how has an earthen fortress from so long ago survived? The secret is in the construction method. Stacking compressed soil. First, you put soil into a wooden frame and press it down firmly. You repeat this to stack it up layer by layer. Finally, you cover it with soil and shape it into a wall. As a result, they could create walls as hard as concrete. See? You can catch a glimpse of the Baekje people's great wisdom. With such a sturdy earthen wall, enemies won't be able to attack easily. While Baekje was steadily strengthening its inner foundations, another opportunity for a leap forward arrived. The Lelang and Difing commanderies, which had weakened over time, were conquered by Goguryeo to the north. People from these lost commanderies, who had always been on good terms with Baekje, headed south toward their neighbor. They brought bundles of advanced Chinese technology and culture with them.
Welcome. Please teach us your advanced ways.
In ancient times, population was national power. As many people moved in at once, Baekje's strength naturally grew. Now, with its foundation firmly laid, Baekje was ready to soar.
It's so rewarding to see how much our Baekje has grown.
So far, we've learned how Baekje established itself in the fertile Han River basin and how it began to grow. Specifically, we learned about King Goi's efforts to build a solid foundation and how the culture and technology from the commanderies helped Baekje develop. Were you surprised that there wasn't much about King Geunchogo yet? Don't worry. The next episode will be full of exciting stories about King Geunchogo himself. See you in the next video. Goodbye!